So in this question we got three friends ABC running at 10 meters per second, 5 meters per second and 4 meters per second from three different points of a 600 meter long track. B started at 2 p.m., A started 12 seconds later and C started 6 seconds later. If A was moving in the anti-clockwise direction, then B was moving in the clockwise and C also in the anti-clockwise direction. Let's now capture all these data in the circle here. This is the 600 meter long track. So on this track, let me assume that this is the point that A started. The question says the first meeting of B and C was 30 meters behind where A started. So X is the point where B and C met for the first time, and that is 30 meters behind A, and it is 120 meters from the point where C started, which implies C must have been running for 30 seconds before he met B, which also means that B was running for 36 seconds, or B has already run 36 into 5, that is 180 meters. So B ran 180 meters before he met C for the first time. So B is going to be diametrically opposite to C because the circumference of the circle is 600 meters and this distance is 180. Hence we can conclude that the distance between the starting point of A and B were 150 meters away from each other. In the first 12 seconds, B would have covered 60 meters. So when A started, the distance that separated A and B was 90 meters. And this 90 meters would have taken them 6 seconds to cover together. So this is the first time that they met. So the first time that they met was 12 plus 6 or 18 seconds after 2 p.m. There have to be two more meetings, which implies they have to together cover 1200 meters at a speed of 15, effective speed of 15, hence that takes them 80 seconds more. So the third meeting will happen 98 seconds after 2, which essentially means it is same as our answer B. In this question we have Karju going from point A to point B, and his car had a technical glitch at point C. It normally took him 12 hours to cover this stretch. On that particular day, when he had a technical glitch, he spent 15 minutes repairing the vehicle at C, and he covered the part C to B at 120% of his normal speed, or can I say 6/5 of his normal speed, which must imply that he must have taken 5/6 of the normal time, which implies he should have actually saved 1/6 of the normal time covering the stretch C to B. We also know that he reached B 15 minutes early. Now this 1/6 of the time that he saved is actually equal to 30 minutes. Why? Had he not spent 15 minutes here, he would have actually reached B 30 minutes early. So which is the time saved by covering the stretch CB faster. Hence the normal time from C to B is equal to 3 hours. Since he takes 12 hours to cover the entire stretch, AC should have taken 9 hours. Hence the ratio of distances, since he was covering at the same speed throughout, would be in the ratio 3:1. Hence the appropriate answer is A. In this question we have a rectangular field. Inside it is a circular ground and we are fencing this circular ground with a 10-meter high steel wire wall. So the cost of fencing is going to be 2 pi r, which is the circumference of the circle, into h, into the cost per square meter of fencing, which happens to be 20. This is equal to 8800. Hence, you find that solving this, you get the value of r as 7 meters. So the ratio of the areas of the circular ground to the rectangle, this ratio we will see is equal to 77:2. Hence the appropriate answer is A. This is a nice question that combines the properties of numbers with binomial expansion. So if you consider any expansion of this form, it can be written as 100 CR into 3 to the power of r by 5 into 7 to the power of 100 minus r by 8. Or it can also be written as 100 Cn minus r into 3 to the power of 100 minus r by 5 into 7 to the power of r by 8. Both are one and the same, so there is no difference between the two. Now if you actually look at these two options, I would prefer working with the second option. Here I see that for this entire expression to be an integer, each of the expressions here, 3 to the power of 100 minus r by 5 and 7 to the power of r by 8, have to be integers, which implies 100 minus r is divisible by 5, which means 100 minus r is an integer. R by 8 is also an integer, or r is divisible by 8. We know that the value of r can either be multiples of 10 or it will be odd numbers, which are odd multiples of 5. If it is odd multiple of 5, r by 8 would not be divisible. Hence, r has to be even multiples of 5 or multiples of 10. And we can see straight away that there are obviously two multiples of 10 less than 100. That is, r is equal to 40. We also have r is equal to 80. What one is likely to miss out is r is equal to 0. Remember, 0 is a multiple of every number. Hence, the appropriate option is D. This is a fairly simple question. You take any two selling price. Suppose you take it as rupees 40 and rupees 30, and the profit percents as 2% and 1% in one case, and maybe 20% and 10% in the other case, or maybe 200% and 100% in the third case. You will find that the ratio of the cost price that you will get in the first two cases will not be the same as the ratio of cost price that you will get in the second case. This essentially implies that there is no unique answer to this question, hence it cannot be determined uniquely. In this question we have to find out how many pairs in the first 91 natural numbers will add up to a multiple of 13. So let's first look at what would be the remainders of the first 91 natural numbers when divided by 13. So if I look at the number of numbers that leave a remainder 0, there will be 7 of them, because 91 happens to be 13 into 7. So it's a complete set. We have 7 such complete sets. Hence, you'll find that the number of numbers that leave remainder 1 would also be 7, 2 would also be 7, 3 would also be 7, so on. 10 would also be 7, 11, remainders of 11 would also be 7, remainders of 12 would also be 7. If a pair has to give me a multiple of 13, the two numbers in the pair would either leave remainders 0, 0 or 112 or 211 or 310 or 49 or 58 or 67. There are 7 numbers that leave remainder 0. Hence, if you are taking a pair from that, there are 7C2 pairs that are possible, which is equal to 21. There are 6 numbers that leave a remainder 1 and there are 6 numbers that leave a remainder, rather there are 7 numbers that leave a remainder 1. There are also 7 numbers that leave a remainder 12 when divided by 13. So the number of pairs that is possible is 7 into 7. And there are 6 such cases that we have here. Hence the total number of pairs will be 7 into 7 into 6, that is equal to 294. Hence in all, sum of all the pairs, sum total of all the pairs is equal to 21 plus 294, which is equal to 315.
Okay, this question is all about data. One has to be fast in calculation and be manipulative in data. Okay, this question talks about an account statement, a bank account statement of Mr. Raj in HDFC Bank for the period January 2014 to April 2014. The balance as on 31st December 2013 was rupees 18,000. Fine. In this, HDFC Bank offers an interest rate of 0.5% on a monthly basis on the average monthly balance maintained by a customer. The average monthly balance is calculated as sum of the balances at the end of each day of a month divided by total number of days in that month. Also, in the table given, which is the account statement, the interest credit transaction has not been shown. Also, there are no other transactions taking place except the mention in the statement. We have to calculate a lot of data and we'll try our best to calculate in the easiest possible way. We have to calculate 3 things for each of the 4 months, that is the average monthly balance for each month, the interest earned for each month, and the balance at the end of the month, which will be the balance on the first day of the next month. Now we'll start calculating it for the month of January. For the month of January, the balance on 1st of Jan was 18,000 and the same balance was there till 9th of Jan. So for 9 days the balance was 18,000. I will take it as 18 into 9. I'll eliminate the thousands part because we can consider that later on. Now on 10th of Jan a check was deposited of rupees 12,000, so the balance became 30,000 and that balance was there till 29th of Jan, that means for 20 days. So I can say 30 into 20. On 30th Jan 15,000 was again added to the account or credited to the account, that means for one day it was 15, that is 45. The final balance was 45, and on the last day 15,000 was withdrawn and the balance became 30,000. So it is 30 into 1. While calculating, I see that 18 into 9 is 162, 30 into 20 is 600, plus 45 plus 30. This will give me 837. I have to divide this entire figure by 31. This will give me 27 and the actual amount will be 27,000. I can put 000 here also. Fine. So the average monthly balance for the month of January was 27,000. The interest will be 0.5% of this, that is 27,000 into 0.5 by 100, which will give me rupees 135. So balance at the end of the month will be 30,135, which is after the summation of 30,000 and 135. Same can be calculated for February. The February AMB will be 30,135 for the first 16 days. I will consider it as only 30,000 for 16 days. Then some amount was withdrawn and the balance became 5635. The only possibility it can be done is 30,135 minus 5635, which is equal to 24500. That means 24,500 must have been withdrawn on 17th of Feb, and which made the amount 5635 at the end of 17th of Feb. So I can fill this part as 24,500. Fine. So on 17th of Feb the balance was 5635. I can roughly consider the balance to be 5.5 thousand, and it was there till 22nd Feb, that is for 6 days. 5.5 for 6 days. Similarly on 23rd Feb 1085 was withdrawn and the balance became 4550. I can assume it to be 4.5, and it was there till 27th Feb, that is for 5 days, and on the last day 16730 was deposited and the balance became 21280. I can take it as 21 into 1. This will give me 30 into 16 is 480 plus 5.5 into 6 is 22 plus 4.5 into 5 is 22.5. I can take this 21 as 21.5 also, 21.5 into 1. So it will help me in simplifying my calculation. Plus 21.5. 22.5 plus 21.5 is 44. 44 plus 22 is 66. 66 plus 480 will give me 546. Fine. 546 is the figure which I am getting. Sorry, I made a calculation mistake. 5.5 into 6 is 33, and 33 plus 44 is 77, which will give me 557. So I have to divide this 557 by 28 to get the average monthly balance. 557 upon 28, I can assume this 557 as 560. To get a rough value, 560 upon 28 will give me 20, which is actually 20,000. So 20,000 is the average monthly balance for Feb. Interest for the Feb will be 20,000 into 0.5 divided by 100, which will give me rupees 100. The final balance would be 21,280 plus 100, which is equal to 21,380. The balance for the month of March. For the month of March, first of all, I will fill out those blanks. On 11th of March, 6380 was withdrawn. I knew that no other transaction has taken place before 11th of March, and the balance at the start of the month is 21,380. So 21,380, when 6380 is deducted, it gives me 15,000. That means the balance here should be 15,000. When 14,000 is withdrawn, it became 1,000. Now it will be easy to calculate the average monthly balance. For March, the average monthly balance can be calculated as 21,380 into 10 days plus 15,000 into 13 plus 1,000 into 7 plus 67,800. This whole will be divided by 31. 21,380 into 10. I can assume it as in thousands. I can assume it as 21.3 thousand, or 21.3 into 10 is 213. 15 into 13 is 195. 1000 into 7 is 7 only, and 67,800 is approx 68. The total will be 213 plus 7 is 220. 220 plus 195 is 415. 415 plus 68 is 483. 483 when divided by 31 will give me 15, approximately 15. I can assume it to be 15,000, because I can see that in my question the options are quite far away. So interest for the month of March will be 15,000 into 0.5 divide by 100, which is equal to 75. Fine. Similarly, we can calculate the figure for the month of April. Sorry, the balance at the end of March will be 67,800 plus 75, which is equal to 67,875. Now for April, the AMB will be 67,875 into 22 plus 79800 into 7 plus 48084. When I'll calculate this figure as roughly, I'll get 679, or I would take it as 680 into 22, or rather 68 into 22 plus 80 into 7 plus 48. I'm again considering the figures in thousands. This, when calculated, will give me a value which is approximately 2200. When divided by 30 will give me a value which is approximately 73,000. Although my answer would vary, it's not exactly 73,000, but we'll see. So the interest would be 73,000 into 0.5 divided by 100, which is equal to approximately 365, and the final balance will be 48084 plus 365, which will turn out to be 48449. Now we will use this data to solve the questions. What was the total balance in the account at the end of April 30? As we have already calculated, 48,084 plus 365, which turned out to be 48,449, is an approximate figure. The closest figure to 48,449 is 48,434. So the answer is 48,434, the closest figure. During the given period, what was the average monthly interest credited in Raj's account? To calculate the average monthly interest, we have to add the interest for all the 4 months and divide it by 4. We knew the interest for the month of January was rupees 135. For February, it was rupees 100. For March, it was rupees 75. And for April, it was rupees 365. The total will be 365 plus 75 will give me 440. Plus 100, 540, 540 plus 135 will give me 675. 675 when divided by 4 will give an approximate value of 168. I know that among the given options, the closest figure is 165.75. So 165.75 is my correct answer. We have already calculated it in the table that the amount which was debited in Raj's account on 17th of February was rupees 24,500. Hence the correct answer is option C.
This is a very simple question. Now there are certain students of class A, 10 of them moved out and 10 of them came from class B. And we know that the average weight of these people was 5 kgs more. 5 kgs more than the set of people who left. Now what does this mean? It means that since there are 10 of them, they are going to bring 50 kgs extra into the system, which when distributed over the total number of people must increase the average by 0.5. Hence, you find that the total number of people n has to be equal to 100, because this extra 50 divided by 100 is equal to 0.5 is now distributed across all the people. Hence, the appropriate answer is 100. In this question, we have a square ABCD. This is a point E, and we have got A, B, C, D. The point AE is situated in such a way that AE is to EB is equal to 2:1. So if I take this as AE as 2 units and EB as 1 unit, obviously since it's a square, BCE will be 3 units. EC is joined and the diagonal BD is drawn, and the point of intersection of these two happens to be the point P. We have to find out what is this angle. Since we are talking about a square, the angle here has to be 45 degrees, and let me call this angle as some angle theta. So we know that the angle EPB, which is what we want to find out, let's call it alpha. Alpha will be given by theta plus 45 degrees by the exterior angle principle. Exterior angle is equal to sum of interior or opposite angles. So we can say that cos alpha which will be equal to cos theta plus 45 degrees. And we know that cos A plus B form, by using cos A plus B form, this can be written as cos theta into cos 45 minus sin theta into sin 45. And cos theta is 3 by root 10. Why is it root 10? Because if EB is 1 and then we have BC is 3, EC must be equal to root 10. So 3 by root 10 is cos theta and cos 45 is 1 by root 2 minus we have sin theta is 1 by root 10 and sin 45 is 1 by root 2. This works out to be 2 by root 10 into root 2, or it simplifies into 1 by root 5. Hence theta is equal to cos inverse 1 by root 5. We have an expression here where A is equal to x cube, B is equal to y cube. So the given expression a to the power of 2 by 3 minus ab to the power of 1 by 3 plus b to the power of 2 by 3 is equal to 21 simplifies to x squared minus xy plus y squared is equal to 21. This could also be written as x minus y whole squared plus xy equal to 21. Now let's look at x minus y whole squared and then xy, and let's see if there is a possibility of x comma y. We know that sum of these two must add up to 21. Suppose I say x minus y whole squared is equal to 0, which means x and y must add up, must be equal, and the product of x and y must be equal to 21. So this case is not possible. So there is no such pair. Now suppose x minus y whole squared is equal to 1, in which case x into y must be equal to 20. So there are two possible cases, 4, 5 and 5, 4, which satisfy this condition. Similarly, if I take x minus y whole squared is equal to 4, the difference of x and y must be 2, but there are no such two numbers whose difference is 2, which gives us a product of 17. So there are no solutions here. So let me, if I just proceed like this, x minus y whole squared is equal to 9, xy must add up to 12, the difference of the two numbers must be 3, there is no such pair that gives you this value. X minus y whole squared is equal to 16, the difference between the two numbers must be 4 and the product has to be 5, hence there are two possibilities, 1, 5 or 5, 1. And you will find that there are no other possibilities that we have here because we are talking about natural numbers. Hence, if you consider the values a plus b, which is equal to x cube plus y cube, you will see that the value could either be 189 or it could be 126. Hence, B is the correct answer. In this question, we have a quadratic expression whose curve would look like this, because it's going to cut your y-axis at 0, 5. The equation is y is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 5. We also have a straight line that's passing through a point here on the negative side. You put y is equal to 0, you will find that this point happens to be minus 1 by 7. So this it's cutting through minus 1 by 7 comma 0. And from the point 0, 1 comma 0, because you put y is equal to 0, or rather x is equal to 0, you get y is equal to 1. So it's actually a line that is passing through these 2 points, and it's going to cut the quadratic in 2 different points. So let's draw a figure. It's a straight line. Okay. This point here, let's call it as A. This point is B. We have to now find out the coordinates of these points. If we want to find out the coordinates of this point, we just have to equate the y coordinates of the two graphs and find out the value of x for which this happens. So the quadratic x squared plus 2x plus 5 will be equal to 7x plus 1 when x squared minus 5x plus 4 equal to 0, or x minus 1 into x minus 4 equal to 0. This can happen when x is equal to 1 or when x is equal to 4. So at x is equal to 1, the coordinates will be 1, 8, and x is equal to 4, the coordinates b will be 4, 29. We also have a point 3, 15, which let's call this as point C. C is equal to 3, 15, and we need to find what type of a triangle is triangle ABC. And since equilateral, isosceles, scalene, right angle all have something to do with the sides, the best way is to find out the length AB. Let's find out AB squared. AB squared will be equal to 9 plus 21 squared, that is 441, that is 450. BC squared will be equal to 4 minus 3 whole square, that is 1, plus 29 minus 15 whole square, that is 196. So this is 197. And then we have AC squared, similarly will be equal to 4 plus 49, that is equal to 53. So you will find that all the three sides are unequal and they don't satisfy the properties of any of equilateral, isosceles or right angle triangle. Hence the appropriate option is C. In this question we have got a straight line 3x minus 7y plus k equal to 0. K is a natural number and the slope of this line is 3 by 7. So we want to find out if there is any point a comma b, whether it can be an image of 1 comma 5. Now there's one thing that you must note, that depending on the value of k, this straight line shifts either in the downward direction or the upward direction, and since k is a natural number, you will find that it will not cross the origin. So it's always on this side of the line 3x minus 7y is equal to 0. Now for a comma b to be an image, there are two conditions it must satisfy. The line joining a comma b to 1 comma 5, this line must have a slope is equal to minus 7 by 3, because it has to be perpendicular to the given straight line. This is the first condition. The second condition is the midpoint of the two line joining these 2 points, right? That is a plus 1 by 2 and b plus 5 by 2 must lie on 3x minus 7y plus k equal to 0. Now we just need to check these conditions for the given choices below. So let's take the first choice. The first choice is 4 comma minus 2. So if I find out the slope of the line joining 4 comma minus 2 and 1 comma 5, the slope is minus 7 by 3. So it satisfies the condition of slope. The midpoint, the coordinates of the midpoint is 2.5 comma 1.5. Now if we plug this into 3x minus 7y plus k equal to 0, you will find that you will get 3 into 2.5 minus 7 into 1.5 plus k equal to 0, or k minus 3 equal to 0. Hence, if k is equal to 3, you will find that this point 4 minus 2 can be the image. Applying the same rule to all the other choices, you will see that only choice D, which does not satisfy the condition of the slope itself, because if you look at point 3 comma 1 and 1 comma 5, the line joining these 2 points has a slope 4 by minus 2 or minus 2, which is not equal to minus 7 by 3 that we are looking at. So this fails the condition straight away. So as a student, when you are checking this out, first look at choices that fails the condition of slope, and you will find that there is no need to go to the second condition. Choices A, B, C satisfy the condition of slope. Choice D does not satisfy the condition of slope. Hence, choice D has to be the answer straight away. This is a fairly simple question. We have got A sin theta is equal to B cos theta. This implies tan theta is equal to B by A. If tan theta is equal to B by A, we can say that sin theta is equal to B by root of A squared plus B squared, in which case cos theta is equal to minus A by root of A squared plus B squared. They could also have been sin theta is equal to B by root of A squared plus B squared, and when the cos theta is equal to root of B by A squared plus B squared. Rather, this is A by A squared plus B squared. Now given these two, we see that the value of sin theta plus alpha, which is a composite angle, can be written as sin theta into cos alpha plus cos theta into sin alpha. So we can see one thing, that the expression A sin alpha plus B cos alpha, if it is divided by root of A squared plus B squared, this expression simplifies to cos theta into sin alpha plus sin theta into cos alpha, right, which is equal to what you are looking for. So this is in the case where the sin theta and cos theta values are this. If the sin theta and cos theta values were negative values, right, then you would get the right hand side as minus c by root of A squared plus B squared. Hence you can see that the sin theta plus cos theta plus sin of theta plus alpha value can either be c by root of A squared plus B squared or minus c by root of A squared plus B squared. Hence the appropriate answer is A. Let's call the expression inside the bracket here as A, this in the bracket here as B. You must note a couple of things here. A is also equal to 1 by B, because if you multiply A into B, you are going to get 1. Similarly, B will be equal to 1 by A. So these are some important things that you must remember. Now if you consider the expression a to the power of x squared minus 6x plus b to the power of x squared minus 6x which equal to 6p, one obvious value of x squared minus 6x, which is almost a trivial conclusion, is x squared minus 6x is equal to 1. This will lead us to two possible solutions for x, which are 3 plus or minus root 10. What is not obvious and what is not trivial is if x squared minus 6x was equal to minus 1, also this expression will be valid. So in that case we would get, if x squared minus 6x was equal to 1 minus 1, we would get 1 by b plus 1 by a equal to 6p, which is equivalent to saying a plus b is equal to 6p, and which is true, we know. Hence another possible set of values for x can be got from the equation x squared minus 6x is equal to minus 1, from which we will get x is equal to 3 plus or minus root of 8. Hence the appropriate option in this question is D. In this question we have got a number 18,000, which when factorized gives us 2 to the power of 4 into 3 squared into 5 cube. Hence this can also be written as 5 squared into 3 into 2 to the power of 4 into 3 into 5, or 75 times 2 to the power of 4 into 3 into 5. Now from this expression, if you have to pull out two factors whose LCM or rather HCF happens to be 75, it must mean that the numbers must be of the form 75a and 75b, where a and b are co-prime to each other. So the question now boils down to breaking 2 to the power of 4 into 3 into 5 into two co-primes . So the number of ways in which you can break it into two co-primes would be the answer for our question. So one very obvious set of co-primes is when one of the numbers happens to be 1, and hence the other number can take powers of 2 ranging from 0 to 4, powers of 3 ranging from 0 to 1, and powers of 5 ranging from 0 to 1, which means there are 5 into 2 into 2, that is equal to 20 options. So there are 20 such cases here. Now let's look at the second case, where we have only two prime numbers being chosen. So if we take the two prime numbers or two prime factors as 2 and 3, the powers of 2 is anything from 1 to 4, because 2 to the power of 0 has already been considered, whereas the power of 3 can only be 1, in which case both these numbers will be co-prime to each other. Hence there are 4 such factors. Similarly, with 2 and 5 we have 4 factors, with 3 and 5 we have only 1 factor. So there are in all 9 cases here. Now let's look at the third cases, where one of the factors has got both 2 and 3 and the other factor has only 5. So the power of 5 can only be 1, power of 3 can only be 1, whereas the power of 2 can be anything from 1 to 4. Hence there are 4 possible options. Similarly, you have for this case here we have got 4 options, and for the case where we have got 5 and 3, where the powers of 2 can range from n to 4, you again have 4 options, in which case there are 12 options here. Hence, in all we have 20 plus 9 plus 12, that is equal to 41 cases. Hence, the appropriate answer is 41.
The line graph shows the sales of 4 mobile phones launched by Motorola in India for the period January 2014 to June 2014. The phones are Photo E, Photo G 8GB, Photo G 16GB and Photo X. The question is, during the given period, what was the absolute difference between the monthly units average sales volume of Photo E and that of Photo G 8GB? It can be the average sales volume of Photo E can be calculated as the 2700 plus 3200 plus 6000 plus 4500 plus 5000 plus 5400 whole divided by 6, which will give us a value of 26800 divided by 6. Similarly, we can calculate the same figure for Photo G 8GB. It will be 4500 plus 5600 plus 10,000 plus 7800 plus 7000 plus 4800 whole divided by 6, which will give us a value of 39700 divided by 6. Now to take the difference, we will simply subtract 39700 by 6 minus 26800 by 6, which will give me 12900 by 6 or 2150. Hence the answer is option B. The graph shows the sales of four Motorola phones in India for the period January 2014 to June 2014. The phones are Photo E, Photo G 8GB, Photo G 16GB and Photo X. The sales volume is given in thousands. Now the question. In 2014, if the simple average growth rate of Photo X from July to December is estimated to be the same as that from January to June, and the estimated sales of Photo X in July 2014 is the same as that in June, find the estimated sales volume of Photo X in December. To calculate this, first of all we have to find out the percentage growth of Photo X from January 2014 to June 2014. We see that in the month of January 2014 the sales were 3600, and in the month of June it was 6600. So the growth is 6600 minus 3600, that is 3000 units. Now percentage growth is equal to 3000 divided by 3600 into 100, which is equal to 250 by 3 percentage. Now the same growth is seen in sales of is seen in this the same growth is seen in the for the period in December. Sorry, now the same growth is seen in December, and the sales in July is same as that in June. So the sales in December will be sales 6600 plus 250 by 3 percentage of 6600, which will give 6600 plus 5500, which is equal to 12,100 units. Hence the answer is option A. The graph shows the sales of Motorola phones in India for the period January 2014 to June 2014. The phones are Photo E, Photo G 8GB, Photo G 16GB and Photo X. The sales is given in thousands. Now the question. What was the maximum growth rate in the sales volume of any mobile phone in any month over that of the previous month? the steepness of a graph shows the growth. We see that photo E has shown the highest growth from the month of February to March, and the growth is from 3200 units to 6000 units, which can be calculated as 6000 minus 3200 divided by 3200 is equal to, sorry, into 100 is equal to 2800 upon 3200 into 100, or 87.5%, the highest growth. Hence the answer is option A.
To solve this question, let me take an example. N is equal to 2 to the power of A into 3 to the power of B into 5 to the power of C. The odd factors would be of the form 3 to the power of 0 till B, and the powers of 5 will be from 0 to C. So in effect you will find there are B plus 1 into C plus 1 odd factors. If you take the power of even, or the factors that are even, it would have anything from 2 to the power of 0 to A into all odd factors. Any odd factor multiplied, not 0 to A, 1 to A, right? So in effect you will find there are A into B plus 1 into C plus 1 even factors. Once this point is clear, now let's get to solving the question. So if you consider all odd factors, sum of all odd factors, if we call that as M, that must be equal to the summation that we get for different values of B and C to B into 5 to the power of 0 C. For given values of B and C, as long as this range of values take from 0 to B and this 0 to C, and you sum up all of them, you will get the sum of odd factors. Sum of even factors would be equal to 2 to the power of 1 plus 2 squared plus 2 cubed plus 2 to the power of 4 plus 2 to the power of 5, because this is adding up to 62, into summation of all the factors, the powers of 3 going from 0 to B and powers of 5 going from 0 to C. So we can see that the value of A from this is equal to 5, and hence you find that the number of odd factors to number of even factors from the given expression is basically the ratio of 1 by A. So this is the number of odd factors number of even factors, and we found out that A is equal to 5. Hence the probability of finding an even number is equal to A divided by A plus 1, which is equal to 5 by 6. Hence the correct answer is D. So we have a triangle here, ABC, and there are 3 points P, Q and R on AB, AC and BC respectively. If AP is to AB, let me call this ratio is M is to N, in which case AP is to AP will be, AB will be M is to M plus N, is equal to AQ is to AC. This will also be M is to N in that case. Then which position of R would give the maximum area for PQR? So we know that by basic proportionality theorem, this line PQ will be parallel to this. Hence, whatever be the point R on the base, it will have the same height for the triangle PQR. So irrespective of the position on BC, it doesn't matter. Hence the area of PQR will not depend on the position of R on the line BC. Hence the appropriate answer is D. It's difficult to solve cubic graphs because there is no standard way to finding out the roots of a cubic polynomial. So we'll have to use a little bit of guessing and intuition to solve the questions. Now let's look at choice A. In choice A, f of 0 is equal to minus 2. But in our graph, f of 0 is not equal to minus 2. Hence choice A cannot be correct. Now let's look at choice C and choice D. Choice C is nothing but can be written as x squared into x minus 2 minus 1 into x minus 2, or this simplifies into x minus 1 into x minus 2 into x plus 1, which means there are three roots. The three roots are minus 1, 1 and 2. So a graph like this would have been a graph something of this form. So this also cannot be our choice. Now if you look at choice D is nothing but the expression that we have in choice C plus 5, or it should have been x minus 1 into x minus 2 into x plus 1 plus 5. So this entire graph would have just shifted by 5 units up. So our graph, the new graph, should also look like this, which is not the case, where the lowest point must lie somewhere between 1 and 2 here. So it has got a local minima there. Hence choice D is also wrong. Hence the most appropriate choice in this question has to be choice B. This question is a sitter. So if you consider the expressions here, if you simplify the expression that's given here, you would get it as x squared by z squared plus x squared by y squared plus y squared by x squared plus y squared by z squared plus z squared by y squared plus z squared by x squared. So if I take this value as a, which is positive, this becomes 1 by a. Similarly, if I take this as b, my y squared by x squared becomes 1 by b. This is c, this becomes 1 by c. And we know the standard inequality a plus 1 by a is greater than or equal to 2 if a is greater than 0. Hence you find that in this expression here we have a plus 1 by a plus b plus 1 by b plus c plus 1 by c. This is what the expression is simplifying to, where a, b, c are greater than or equal to 0. Hence you will find that this expression is greater than or equal to 6. In this question we have to find a 8-digit number and find out how many such numbers are divisible by 11. So we are essentially finding the probability that the 8-digit number is divisible by 11. The numbers that we can use is 1 to 8. We know that summation of these numbers from 1 to 8 is summation is equal to 36. For the number to be divisible by 11, the summation of the odd minus the summation of the even digits must be equal to 0 or 11 or minus 11 or 22 or minus 22 or 33 or minus 33. Now if we say this difference is 0, it means that this has summation of this is 18, this also has to be 18. Assuming that the odd numbers are greater than the odd digits are greater than the even digits, then you will find that this expression here will not be an integer, will not be an integer in the case of 11, will not be an integer in the case of minus 11, same with even. So you will find that the same repeats itself for odd numbers. Now for the case of 22, which means if the odd minus even is 22 and we know that odd plus even is equal to 36, you will find that one of the numbers is going to be, let's say the smaller one is going to be 7 and the larger one is going to be 29. So similarly you will have 7 here and 29 here. But the problem in this is if you take the three smallest numbers from 1 to 8, they themselves are equal to 6. So 4 smallest will obviously not be equal to 7. Hence this case also needs to be ignored. So the only case that we have is the digits appearing in the odd places and the digits appear in the even places. Both of them must be equal to, summation must be equal to 18. And when we do this, we realize that there are 8 sets that are possible. You could work out this case. We have 1, 2, 7, 8. When it is 1, 2, 7, 8, the even places are going to be 3, 4, 5 and 6. So you will find that this is one case. So obviously this would also be valid here. And 1, 2, 7, 8. Then similarly we have, suppose you have 1, 3, 6, 8. You will find that the cases here will be 2, 4, 5 and 7. So you will have 2, 4, 5, 7 and 1, 3, 6, 8. So if you kind of list this, you will find there are 8 cases. And these 8 cases are taking care of all possibilities that are appearing in both odd and even places. Hence, if you find out the total number of numbers that are possible, there are 8 cases, and in each case the numbers in the odd places can be arranged in 4 factorial, and parallelly the numbers in the even places can also be arranged in 4 factorial. These are the total number of cases, and remember you need not multiply this with 2 because we are exhaustively considering all cases in this 8. It's not 16, it is now we know that these are the numbers divisible by 11 and the total number of numbers is 8 factorial. You will find that hence the probability of a number being divisible by 11 will be equal to 4 by 35. This simplifies to 4 by 35. Hence this is the correct answer. In this question we have a circle whose center is O. There is a point T here which is the end of the diameter ST. There is a tangent drawn at T. It's called as TT dash. And this tangent makes an angle 30 degrees with P. The other end of P passes through Q and ends as a diameter PQ. R is any point here on the minor arc SQ, and we have to find out the angle. So let us call this angle as theta. So this theta is what we need to find. So we will use a couple of theorems in this. One of the theorems is alternate segment theorem, and the second theorem is that of angle subtended by a chord at the center and comparing that with the angle subtended by the same chord at any other point in the circle. Now the alternate segment theorem says this angle 30 degrees must be equal to angle made in the other segment by the same chord, right? So this angle would also be 30. If this angle were 30, this angle is going to be 60 degrees. But the fact that the chord PT subtends twice the angle at the center as it does at on the circle. if this is 60, this has also got to be 60, vertically opposite angle. And if it is 60, this angle here, let me choose, this angle has to be 30 degrees. And now let me call that point as M. Now we have a quadrilateral NQRS. The opposite angles of a quadrilateral must add up to 180 degrees, so this angle will be equal to 150 degrees. Hence, the appropriate answer is C. Consider a cylinder whose height is h and the diameter is d. Suppose there is a rope that goes along this cylinder and completes one single round by the time it reaches the top. If we cut open the cylinder at this point and then open it out, you are going to get a rectangle whose height is h, the base is pi d, and the length of the rope will be same as the length of the diagonal, which will be equal to root of h squared plus pi d whole squared. In this question, we have a string that completes 4 rounds, which is equivalent to saying we got 4 such small rectangles, one on top of the other, and we have to find out sum of all the diagonals. Since this is 48, each rectangle has a height 12, and the diameter is going to be pi d, that is 22 by 7 into 58 by 11, that is equal to 16 centimeter. So hence we will find that each diagonal will be 20 centimeters long using Pythagoras theorem. Hence we have 4 such turns. So the total length of the string will be equal to 80 centimeters.
Okay, this question talks about the sales of different types of different types of pens in the Indian market in the year 2013. The pens are ink pen, ballpoint pen, and thin nib pen. The ratio of the sales volume of the 3 types of pen in the given order in the year 2013 was 7:12:1. The total sales volume of the 3 types of pen put together was 100 crore, and that of sales value of the 3 types of pen put together was rupees 150 crore. In the two pie charts, the pie chart 1 shows the sales volume of the ballpoint pens of 6 different brands A, B, C, D, E and F, and pie chart 2 shows the sales value of the ballpoint pens of same 6 different brands A, B, C, D, E and F. It is also mentioned that only these six brands were present in the year 2013, and each of these brands sold all of its ballpoints at the same price. Now the question: in India, which brand sold its all ballpoint pens at the maximum price in the given year? To calculate the price of a ballpoint pen for a particular brand, we have to find out the total price, total sales value of a particular brand for ballpoint pen and the total sales volume. Let's say total sales value is equal to rupees X and total sales volume is equal to Y for ballpoint pens in the year 2013 in Indian market. Now for A, the price will be 20% of X divided by 33% of Y. For B, it will be 20% of X divided by 10% of Y. For C, it will be 23% of X divided by 17% of Y. We see that while calculating the price for the brands A, B and C, this part and this part is same. The only distinguishing factor is the percentage figures, that is 20 and 30. This gives 20 and 33, sorry. This is 20 and 10. The different figure, this is 23 by 17. So the brand for which this figure is maximum, that brand only sold the ballpoint pen at the maximum price. So for A we have found out it's 20 by 33, for B it's 20 by 10, for C it's 23 by 17. For D it will be 8 upon 13, for E it will be 10 upon 20, for F it will be 19 by 7. We can clearly see that this figure is less than 1, this figure is less than 1, this figure is 2, this figure is less than 2, this figure is half, again less than 1, and this figure is more than 2. Hence, brand F sold its ballpoint pens at the maximum price in the given year. Hence, the answer is option D. In India, the total sales volume of ballpoint pens of brand E and half of brand B put together is what percent of the total sales volume of ballpoint pens in the given year? From the pie chart 1, we can see that the sales volume of brand E is 20% and brand B is 10%. So brand E is 20% and brand B is 10%. We want half of brand B, so it will give us 5%. So total sales volume will be equal to 20 plus 5, that is 25%. Since this figure is of sales volume only, so answer is 25%. If a pie chart for the total sales volume of the three types of pen put together in India in the given year is drawn, then what would be the angle subtended by the sales volume of Chinese ink pen in the Indian market if Chinese ink pen constituted 15% of the total sales of ink pens? Now, to calculate this, first of all we have to figure out what is the percentage of ink pens in the total total sales volume of all the pens put together. We knew that the ratio is 7:12:1 for ink pen, ballpoint and thin nib. So the percentage of ink pens is 7 upon 7 plus 12 plus 1, that is 7 by 20. The angle subtended by the ink pen will be 7 by 20 into 360, which will give me 126 degrees. Now among these ink pens, 15% were Chinese ink pens. So the angle subtended by Chinese ink pens will be 15% of 126 degree, which is equal to 18.9 degree. Hence the answer is 18.9 degree. Option B.
This is the absolute sitter. So imagine you have a circle with a lot of parallel secants. So you find that you have 4 lines here, and every extra line that we are adding here is giving us 3 unbounded regions. Hence you will find that if there are 4 lines, that you have 8 unbounded regions. Similarly, if you have 33 parallel secants, you will find that there are 66 unbounded regions. Now in this question, I think there is a lot of redundant information. It's important that you know what the redundant information is. Now in certain time TR is equal to 9 hours, Sam prepared 48 pizzas. During the festival season, in the same 9 hours he has to prepare 96 pizzas, which means his efficiency has to go by 100%. Now if you take Tom, in certain time T hours, he prepared 25% more than Sam. So instead of 48, he makes 60 pizzas. Now that has to go up to, in the same amount of time, it has to go up to 96, or it goes up by 60%. So the efficiency of Tom has gone up by 60%, whereas that of Sam has gone up by 100%. Hence the given required ratio is 3:5. In this question we have a rectangle. This RQ is 6 centimeter and this is 12 centimeter. If we take the radius of the circle with center O as R, this distance is R, and if I drop a perpendicular from Q to this radius, this distance is R minus 6 and this distance will be R minus 12. And if I kind of join these two, this is equal to R. So we have got an equation R squared is equal to R minus 12 whole squared plus R minus 6 whole squared. Solving this, we'll get R squared is equal to R squared minus 24R minus 12R. Or we have a quadratic R squared minus 36R plus 180 equal to 0. Solving this, we'll get R minus 30 into R minus 6 equal to 0. But we cannot take R is equal to 6 because we know that this rectangle itself is more than. Hence, we will find that the appropriate option is R is equal to 30.